Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I'm coming back to you once again. This time, I'm going to go over to Mediaite, and this is in politics. It says Speaker Johnson subtly claims Trump acted as an FBI informant on Epstein. Mm-mm. And the thing about that is that it was rumored that Trump told on Epstein to get him in trouble. So let's get into this article. It says House Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican of Louisiana, referred to President Donald Trump as an FBI informant this week when pressed by CNN's Menu Raja on Trump's calling the ongoing Jeffrey Epstein scandal a hoax. But Trump called it a hoax yesterday, Raja pressed Johnson while discussing Epstein's victims and the seriousness of Epstein's sex trafficking crimes. What Trump is referring to is the hoax that the Democrats are using to try to attack him. He has never said or suggested or implied, I've talked to him about this many, many times. He is horrified. It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that the Epstein did what Epstein did was a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumors, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. And the story changes again. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down, Johnson said, adding a new element to the discussion around Trump and Epstein. Mm-mm. Trump's long relationship with Epstein has become a major topic of conversation in recent months, as reports have linked the two. The Trump name is reportedly included in so called Epstein files. So, this is the angle that they're trying to push now. Oh, man, it never ceases to amaze me. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It is detestable to him, filmed Johnson, adding in a statement, he said, he and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago. What he's talking about is the Democrats who are doing this to impure motives, excuse me. If they cared so much about uh, this, why didn't they do something the 4 years of the Biden administration? And why didn't they do something in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022? Why didn't he do it? I mean, he had ample time to do stuff as well, since he so-called cared. And that's a lot of stuff that I hear just having conversation with people. Well, the Biden administration had it for 4 years, yeah, and the DOJ and FBI and all of them had it since 2019. Who was president in 2019? Trump was. I don't believe that he was in physical possession of the files itself, but they were there through his first term. They were there. They were there from 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. They were there. And he didn't think to tap that, open that up, see what was going on. Sounds suspicious, but continuing on. They didn't say a word about it. Now they're doing it for political purposes. Okay. Not everybody, but a lot of them. And that's what the president's frustrated about. No, the president is frustrated, in my opinion, because his name is associated with it. If he was in fact what Johnson called a so quote unquote informant per his statement, um, then it would make sense that his name was all over the Epstein files. But the position that Trump has been taking and has took to get his name redacted by Pam Bondi, claimed that it was a hoax due to phase one of the, content creators and all of this other stuff. If he was simply an informant, then it would have been no issue because the case is closed, right? And to our knowledge, if it is to be believed, he would have no reason to still hide under his informant status, correct? But that's just my opinion. Anyway, he has no culpability in this thing at all. The president has clean hands. Okay. He wants all the records out. He has told me himself. Saying and doing is two different things, Mr. Johnson. Should he meet with the victims? Roger pressed. Johnson replied, I suspect he probably will. Yeah, he has great compassion for them. The president has a very compassionate heart. Okay. He hates the fact that these women suffered these harms. He hates that he hates what Epstein is accused of and who he was. And when he recognized Epstein wasn't just some sort of socialite, he was an evil person and alleged to have been involved in a evil scheme or evil schemes. And the president distanced himself before he was president from that because that's not who he is. And I think he's being falsely accused. Okay. And that's frustrating to all of us. That's what he's talking about when he says it's a hoax. That is the end of the article right there. But let me just keep in mind and just point out some facts, or not even facts, just things that I've noticed. And this is basically my opinion. This is not based on any type of facts or anything like that. Let me just make that clear. Johnson is lying. Comer is lying. Anybody that is a part of the Trump cabinet is lying clearly. Um, First, it was when Trump was asked about his fallout with Epstein. He said that it was because he tried to allegedly talk to someone at Mar-a-Lago that was not consenting, and he threw him out. Which, coming to find out from reports, Epstein was still a part of the club even after that, and wasn't officially taken off at least 2 or 3 years after the fact, between 1 and 3 years after the fact, as a club member. That's one thing. Two, then he was pressed about it again later on, and he said it's because he was taking people from him. He was stealing his people. One of his people being the Virginia Giuffre, who tragically lost her life early this year, and that was reason number two. Now, reason number three was because he was an informant, which is crazy because there was a rumor or a theory out there that initially Trump had, him and Epstein had fallen out for whatever reason, and it was over real estate. And Trump was so petty. I'm not saying this verbatim, I'm just saying it the way I'm saying it. Trump was so petty that he wanted to, he was the one that was the informant that, got Jeffrey Epstein jammed up in the first place. But I mean, it doesn't make any sense why he would get Jeffrey Epstein jammed up in the first place. But then again, Trump is not in my opinion, he's not a thinker. He's not a person that will sit there and critically think about a situation before acting on it. He's more, as I see it, in my opinion, as a person of impulse. He's very impulsive. So, you know, I mean, if he did do it that way, or if it had some validity to it, I mean, he had help. But that's basically now Johnson is saying that he was an informant. So this is going to take us down another rabbit hole. Okay, so if you were an informant, what type of information were you gathering on Jeffrey Epstein? Were you the one that placed the initial call to put the authorities on Jeffrey Epstein's radar in the first place? But going down that rabbit hole is so many other doors that can open up. But here's my thing about the whole situation. Um, the way my brain works is that okay, all of that is plausible. Any and all of that can be true. However, while when he was going through it in Florida, the same people that were in charge of handling the case or was an advocate for you know sex abuse and sex trafficking, which was Pam Bondi, and the attorney that later became Trump's attorney, Acosta, gave him a slap on the wrist. And she did not speak out in regards of what was going on in Florida when she was the AG. That's very suspicious. And that's just two of them that I will name. It's very suspicious that she didn't speak out it, and she was a strong advocate for these things, and she was so against it only for her to get a seat on his administration. And the same thing with Acosta. He had a seat on Trump's first administration, his first go around back in 2017. So it's like, you reward the ones that keeps the secrets, the Pandora box of it all. But again, that's just a theory that my mind takes me to, but why would you do all of these things? If he was this disgusting, evil person, he was also linked to Maxwell. And by him being linked to Maxwell, and clearly the victims that testified just recently said that she was very complicit and everything that was going on, why then would you send your attorney, your number two at the FBI, to interview her after you fired the initial prosecutor that was on her case that actually got the conviction, which was Comey's daughter? I'm telling you, political life is more ratchet than regular life at this point. But yeah, it just seems like it's too much for to believe. And to be honest, my honest opinion, I don't believe anything that comes out of Johnson's mouth. I believe anything that comes out of Rubio's mouth. I don't believe anything that comes out of the FBI's mouth, the Department of Education, definitely the Department of Health, the whole administration. I don't believe nothing that they say, because these people will literally tell you that it's raining and the whole time they pouring water on you. Okay? Just to say it in a nice way. But I don't know, you guys. Let me know. Drop down in the comment section. I would definitely love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, thank you so much for watching my video. I truly do appreciate it. And with that, you guys, I will get with you in the next one. Woke up looking for the plate, hot key, keep a horn, like a pussy, hot beat, pushing the blue fingers, not a beat, Mr. Get off, I get on.